Hello, fellow Ghanaians and the entire world. Greetings to you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Joseph Atta is my name from Ghana, West Africa. Welcome to my program, Mining for the Truth, which refers to the process of digging to discover the undiluted doctrines of Christ, our Church of Christ. It has two purposes as follows. One, to teach the word, John 1 verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. To prove it, go to Genesis 1 verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The plural Hebrew word for God there is Elohim, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus Christ, the Word, God the Holy Spirit. Elohim suggests God of creation. Two, to teach the truth. John 8:32. And you know the truth, and the truth will make you free. What is the truth? John 17:17. Sanctify them by your truth. Your word is truth. What is the truth? Manifestation. John 14 verse 6. And Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except by me or except through me. The phrase except through me or by me means that there is no other door, no other way. Acts 4 verse 12, that there is no other name under the heavens under which we are being saved, except Jesus Christ. I welcome all my viewers from all over the world once again. You might Campus Church of Christ. You are welcome. Mrs. Atta, you are welcome to the program. I love you so much. I've missed you as well. Knowing very well that you have also missed me and then you love me equally. Of course, in psychology, we call it natural law of successive approximation. That is, when love is equated to mutualism. That's all. All right. Now, having said that, I thank all my viewers. In fact, to God be the glory. May God bless you so much. In fact, you have been doing well. Now, when I check the video, my videos very well, those who view the videos are not even my Facebook friends. They view it more than my Facebook friends. I don't know how they find a video to view, but God bless you so much for making the time. Nowadays, people hate the Bible. People hate the truth. So if you're not careful, they will rather even be attacking you. They will be insulting you. Me, I'm ready for all those things because it happened before. John 15 verse 20 is saying that a servant is not above his master. If Christ was persecuted, likewise I will be persecuted. So, in case of any insults, someone wanting to tarnish my image on the video, I don't have any issue with that. Even if you comment, I will reply because I have my purpose of the message. You understand? To share the gospel of Christ. Simple. If you don't like it, I don't think that you will have to officially speak against it. However, when you read about Matthew 5, verse 13 and 14, the Bible is saying that even our lifestyle is a threat to unbelievers. Because you don't drink, you don't go out for wedding parties, because you are a sort to officially disinfect them, because you are a light shining amidst them as they are in darkness, you become their enemy. All right. Now, having said that, we continue with our studies. So, theme is the book of Ecclesiastes. Topic is searching for the true meaning of life. Subtopic here will be the pedagogy of chapter 4, episode 2. Two objectives. 1, or A, the value of a friend. Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 to 12. And then the last one, popularity is capricious. So let's read Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 to 12. We are continuing from what we learned last time. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. 10. For if they fall, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. Verse 11. Again, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? Verse 12. Though one may be overpowered by another, two can withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. The value of a friend. Now, in our previous studies, let's read something in Ecclesiastes. There's an Ecclesiastes 4 verse 8. I think so. No. Verse 6, right? No, let's go to, no, it should be rather 1 Timothy 6 verse 7. 1 Timothy 6 verse 7. Let's see something there. 1 Timothy 6 verse 7. Let me see if I'm correct. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. So here was where last week we saw that people are valuable than things. Where wealthy people are interested rather in making wealth or the things that they have accumulated being more important than human beings, being friends, their family, their siblings, their own children. So we ended that they must rather give or they must share what they have. So they should possess it, but rather they have to share. Of course, God has more than anyone can have. Psalms 50 verse 12. Two are better than one. I will paraphrase it. Of course, some may use this in terms of love. That you must have a companion. You must have a companion. Yeah, it is true. But my interest here will not be solely based on marriage. Of course, we don't use same quotation for same teaching or for same message all the time. So please, bear me out. Two are better than one because they have good reward for their labor. If one falls, one will lift up his companion. But woe to him who is alone when he falls, for he has no one to help him up. And it is true. When you fall down, you are being alone. Who will lift you? Who will lift you? Now, in Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 to 12, King Solomon stresses our weakness and vulnerability. Every human being is vulnerable. Because you are now agile, so you think that you have no weakness. As I stand here, I can collapse. And sometimes when you collapse, you need someone to lift you up. Our weakness and vulnerability as human beings and the significance of others in our lives. Now, previously, we saw that people who are wealthy rely on their wealth than human beings. But here, King Solomon is saying that there is the need for us to rely on another. I mean, fellow human beings, than relying on the things that we are accumulating. Of course, we mean what? It may be a delight to the ego to say that we do not need anybody, but it is a lie. Your ego can tell you that, but it is not true. Everybody needs somebody in this life. Unless maybe they are all sinning, they are all going the wrong way. That one you can say that I don't need them. But so far as you are a human being, if you go to Abraham Maslow's scale of needs, there's a point that there is the need to be loved and share your love. So when you give love, you expect it to be reciprocated. They need to be loved and belong. You must love someone, and then someone too must care for you in return. So to the ego, you can say that I need none, but it is a lie. All we have ever done since we were born was to need somebody. When you were born, or when you were born, our moms had to, we were fed. We needed to hold our moms to start to walk small. Sometimes they gave us some walking aid where we held the wood to drive. It was the normal call it a children's car by the carpenter. So as you are driving, it means that you are learning how to walk. Small. Someone had to feed you. So somebody to carry us about, to feed, to dress, to love, to protect, to advise, teach, direct, befriend, encourage, conserve us, and share life with us. Yes. That's why there's always an adult to take care of the young. I was taught how to bath, how to brush your teeth, how to do this, and how to iron. Everything was taught by my parents. And so also your parents will teach you if you are humble enough. Household chores, actually. Personal hygiene. And overarching all the human aid we have needed is the sustaining grace of a God who gives to all life and breath to all things. If you go to Acts 17 verse 15, now let's read something there. All are from God anyway. Acts 17 verse 25. So 17:25. Nor is he worshipped with men's hands, as though he needed anything, since he gives to all life, breath, and all things. So God gives everything. Same God has said in the beginning that it is not good that man should be alone. Genesis 2 verse 18. Genesis 2 verse 18. Genesis 2 verse 18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him. That's why Eve came. So Eve was a perfect mate for Adam. We are by nature dependent creatures. That's what you must know when you read Genesis 2 verse 18. I love to paraphrase a lot. We are by nature dependent creatures. We depend on everybody. So don't think that you are an island, therefore you are on your own. No, it is not true. We all need some people. At times, when you are in trouble or when you are sad, you need a shoulder to lean on. Sometimes you are depressed. By sharing your issue with someone alone, they say that a problem shared is half solved. You are relieved based on the person's advice or encouragement. Left you alone, you would have think, and it may lead to hypertension. King Solomon's message is that we need friends and companions to pick us up when we fail. When you fail, you need someone to pick you up, to encourage you, to advise you, to motivate you, to walk us when life grows hard and cold. So to the couples, sometimes they need to lie together, especially when it is cold weather, if you want. To advise and encourage us, to uphold us when we are under assault. For example, that you have been raped or you have been abused, physically abused by someone superior or stronger than you are. You walk straight to the court of law, the guidance and counsel, or the counselor to advise you, or anywhere you think that they will hear your story. And sometimes the law is able to bring this person to justice. Let you alone, can you do it, or could you do it? You can't. So you have to report the case, and then they will follow the issue. They will also pursue it and give you the necessary justice. Once given the justice, you become happy. You have what we call euphoria. you become satisfied. That is the meaning of euphoria. After stress, when you read about stress management, after all the stress you pass through, you come to a place where you say, oh, now I am okay. You call that one euphoria, satisfaction. And when this person who has assaulted you is not brought to justice, you will never sleep in peace. Until the person had been disciplined, you see that you become so happy. Now you can sleep. You can now dream. You can now even snore. Or just to enlarge life's joys by giving us someone to share them with. As I said, you need someone to confide in. But of course, you should be careful as you expose your secret. Some fear the hurt that getting close to others may bring, but that is nothing compared to the agony of isolation. Now, what are you telling me? That you fear to share or to get closer to people? Fine, that one is personal behavior, and then it depends on your enculturation and then acculturation. But we are saying that it is not the same as being in isolation. Agony, no, I'm not even just being isolated. Agony of isolation. It means you are in pain and you are alone. Adam was alone, though he wasn't in pain, but he needed a companion. So he even started saying that the bone of my bone, So this means that God thought it wiser and provided his needs and not wants. And Adam was so happy. Some fear the hurt that getting close to others may bring, but that is nothing compared to the agony of isolation. Can you imagine? Of course, I prefer to be alone. That's why I stay at new sites. Initially, you heard that the cock was crowing. So behind my brethren, all the place is bushy. This isn't isolation. I want to be in a secluded area, segregated area, so I can have my peace of mind. We are making reference to someone who has no one in life. Of course, I have family, so I can travel to my family members, and then I'll be happy there if I want. I can go to them every weekend to enjoy my life. So I am not in isolation, but I prefer to live in a place where I will be comfortable, devoid of noise. And otherwise, you see that my video dotted with some music and unnecessary noise. Yes, but being in a world of isolation is where we have suicide. And you can kill yourself because you are suffering alone. You have none to share a problem with. You have none to consult. You have none to tell your case. So as it piles up, then the end is that let me kill myself and then I'll be free. Aloneness is awful. Love is always a risk. Actually, love, being true or false, is always a risk. At times, some people have been asking me, Mr. Atta, of course, being my student. When I say student, I'm not making reference to those I teach in second side, to those who come for wording training. They are all females. So they call me female warder. Fine, I accept it. That said, haven't you fallen? No, haven't your heart been broken before? Yes, they are asking that. I said, so no broken heart before. I said, broken heart. What is that? At a broken heart. Then I also asked them that the heart is full of flesh. The heart contains no bones. So how can the heart be broken? So you see that they will all start to laugh. That I'm funny. But I said yes. I find it very difficult to hear that someone's heart had been broken. I said how? So I said that no. My heart has not been broken before. And I said, hey, wow. I said yes. Actually, I stand in love. I don't fall in love. When you stand, you have a problem to be yourself. But when you fall in love, is when your heart is broken. You'll be drowned. I stand in love. I don't fall in love. They say, Father, never ever will I. Why should I fall in love? What do you mean by to fall in love? What is that? I don't understand. I wish someone can explain to me that I have fallen in love. To fall in love, as in what? I don't understand it. There are so many things that the world believes in that I don't. I have never ever understood it before. That I have fallen in love with this woman, this my wife. When I fell in love with her. No. I'm a starter. No. I stand in love so that you are in equilibrium in your complete senses. So you see that I have my mental faculties working 100% and 24/7 because I am standing. When you stand, it's when you can correct errors. You can know. You have what you call observational learning to detect whether the person is fake or true. But when you fall, then you are either preoccupied by fantasies. You fail to correct. Even an error, then you say, praise the Lord. Then you are trying to shower some kind of praises on the person. That is the sense of falling in love. And always, it leads to suicide, divorce, broken heart, if you want to put. Sometimes, they are asking that. So I said, how did you come by all that? I said, I need my common sense in this life. Sense is common, but not common to apply. I use my common sense in this life, as you see me. James 1:5 is saying that if you need wisdom, ask God, because He gives it liberally. The Greek word for wisdom, Sophia, means the application of knowledge, understanding, and common sense. So me, as such old jokes, I've been using my common sense. Of course, I will marry, but I will never fall in love with anybody. I stand in love because love itself is a burden, and not even a problem. It is a burden that we carry on our head and even on our shoulders, on our back. Someone who has fallen is someone who is weak, but when you stand, it means that you are agile to withstand the problems, provide solutions. Already, you are falling down. So you are weak. Someone who has fallen. How can you stand on your feet to face problems and then challenges in this life? Oh, I stand in love and I don't fall in love. We move on. We continue with our... so love is always a risk. Love is always a risk, but it is a risk where worth the taking. It is good to love. Of course, you can yield the fruit to get benefit from it. There could be fortune and then you die. Your Ghanaian heart is broken. How can your heart be broken in this sweet world, modern era, where people are learning and inventing that you have a broken heart? At times, if I ask them, someone will say, I have to. I say, hey, then you have experience. In fact, a professor of broken hearts. That you have 2 broken hearts by some small boys, actually. So me, my heart is so genuine, has not been broken, cannot, and never ever will it be broken. Impossible. The Bible is saying that don't love anybody than God. I would advise my wife not to love me, then she will love God. I will also make her aware that I cannot love you than I love God. Me, I'm a practical person. I face facts. Fact is information without emotion. So if you don't have a heart, you can never ever walk with me to the end. Of course, you can begin with me, but you cannot end with me because I face facts. Yes is yes, no is no. If it is true, I follow. If it is false, I will progress. Simple. So my heart is still genuine. Has not been refined. We call it crude. Crude. Uncrude means virgin. Unprocessed, raw. Naomi needs her roots. Moses his Joshua. David his Jonathan. Paul his Timothy. Companionship. Two are better than one. So you can imagine that two good heads are better than one big foolish septic tank head. Two small good heads are better than one big fat foolish septic tank full of foolishness, headquarters of filthy thoughts, big head. It becomes useless, but rather you will be interested in the two that are small in quantity. Two good heads are better than one big foolish septic tank head. Popularity is capricious. It's our next term. Means that popularity passes away. That's all. So capricious means variable, varies, it changes. By paraphrasing, I'll try to paraphrase before we start. The wealthy man who is foolish will soon be overcome by a poor and humble youth who lived in destitute. That's all about popularity. It's capricious, that's all. The pride and arrogance shall soon be overcome by a poor young man who is humble. That's all. Better a poor than wise youth, than an old and foolish king who will be admonished no more. For he comes out of prison to be king. I make reference to the poor youth. Although he was born poor in his kingdom, I saw all the living who walk under the sun. They were with the second youth who stands in his place. There was no end of all the people over whom he was making. Yet those who come afterward will not rejoice in him. Surely this is also vanity and grasping of the wind. Ecclesiastes 4 verse 18 to 16. Now we try to explain. It is one thing to live trusting with friends. It is quite another to be seduced by swallow popularity. People have swallowed popularity as a pill or tablet in their stomachs, or the person has swallowed it into his stomach. You see, we have this at the belly, okay? We have this at the belly. So the stomach is inside. So sometimes it is in Ghana, sometimes nursery books, I think science or the body part. You see that they will sketch and then they will label. And they will label this as the stomach. Of course, it is wrong. I wonder why they allow such books to be sold. The stomach is rather inside. We have this as the abdomen, I'm sure. Yeah, this is the abdomen, and then the stomach is in where the food is contained. Okay, so please, we have this as the abdomen, and the stomach is inside. I mean, that's my knowledge anyway. So we are saying that a person who is proud and arrogant has swallowed popularity into his abdomen and thinking that none can ever overcome him. Here Solomon concludes his better observation, as we have already read, 4 verse 3, Ecclesiastes 6, 9, and then 18. An old king grown foolish with pride and self-conceit. He's so proud and thinking that no one from nowhere can ever overtake him. And considering himself irreplaceable. Yes. There's no contender actually. May soon be overthrown by a poor but wise youth who arises from, of all places, a prison cell. So the prison cell is making reference to from destitute point The person is nobody. So, for example, the king will soon be replaced by the subjects or the servants. So you can see the variance or the disparity. A whole king being overthrown by a mere gardener. That's when you swallow popularity into your belly and thinking that we have only one pill. So once you have swallowed it, that then there is always an antidote. And the antidote here is humility. Proud, irreplaceable is often turned out by humble and wise, unlikely. The person who is wise and humble will soon overtake the proud and arrogant, foolish king. The king is making for someone who thinks he will rule until he dies. So he's using the word king. Young men with wisdom and skill can often have their own heads turned by the popularity that sweeps them up and can just as decisively sweep them out. Yes, if you think that you always be on top because you are young, it is now your turn, so no one can overthrow you. The same pride will descend you as it ascended you. This too is vanity. Now, in Ecclesiastes 4, verse 8 and 14, now let's try to understand. Wisdom is over words. That's all. Wisdom is over words, age, or societal status. Wisdom is more important than your age, your words, and then your societal recognition that, oh, this man is worthy, he deserves this post. No. Wisdom is over all this. The young and poor can be more valuable and effective since they have knowledge, understanding, and common sense than an older, foolish, wealthier man. The poor and the youth, the poor young man is more valuable and effective since they have knowledge, understanding, and common sense. Knowledge, understand. I'm trying to explain wisdom, as I mentioned in James 1 verse 5. Than an old, foolish, wealthier man. He's so rich, filthy rich, so he thinks that, hey, I am undefeatable. The poor youth, due to humble beginning, can easily rise through the ranks into superiority because of wisdom and chances, though he was destitute, oppressed, suppressed, and compressed. I'm trying to rhyme anyway. Now I repeat myself. The poor youth, due to humble beginning, can easily rise through the ranks. So, you see, gradually, he rises through the ranks, become superior. Why? Because of wisdom and the chances that he had. Though he was destitute, oppressed, suppressed, and compressed. So initially he was intimidated, he was pushed down, and he was squeezed, oppressed, suppressed, compressed. All because they were preventing him or her from reaching the top. But because of wisdom and humble beginning, though from destitute point, he can rise through the ranks and then now overtake the proud and arrogant, foolish, wealthier king or man. I'm trying to explain the text in case you're unaware. Now, in 1 Samuel Let's go to 1 Samuel 17, verse 50 and then 51. 1 Samuel 17, right? Yeah, 50 and then 51. Of course, the fight between God and then Satan. You can say Goliath and then David. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone, and struck the Philistine and killed him. But there was no sword in his hand, in the hand of David. Verse 51. Therefore David ran and stood over the Philistine, took his sword and drew it out of its sheath, and killed him, and cut off his head with it. And when the Philistines saw that their champion was dead, they fled. Now, David was a small boy, and Goliath had fought all his life. That is, if you read about Goliath, that he was a soldier or he was a fighter from all his life. He was guarded, a shield, headgear. He was a fully dressed. So he thought there was no way, anything, bullets, whatever, the arrow can kill him. He forgot that there was a forehead, and he was killed by only a stone. Of course, the stone wasn't just a stone. It was by God's grace. David prevailed over Goliath, not because he was better fighter, but because Goliath was proud, arrogant, and thought he was undefeatable. That's all. So Goliath, he thought that, but I have fought all my life. When he saw David, he even mocked at him. See this little rat here to contend with an army officer who has fought all his life. He was huge. 9 inches tall or so. No, 9 feet tall. I'm sure. He was so huge. So you see that David was somewhere not near to the waist. And he was a small boy. He appeared without any fighting gear. Just a sling. You can see catapult and then stones. Initially, King Saul gave him his armor. He fell down because the armor was so much heavy on him that he couldn't even walk. And so therefore, he went alone in the normal way of tending to the sheep. His idea was that if he had been able to save the sheep from the wolf, then why can't he also kill Goliath? He went to the battle with God. You are hereby informed that if you walk with God, you can accomplish a lot. Popularity is capricious. Popularity is capricious. So don't think that you're going to rule forever. When God gives you the chance, and then you become proud and then arrogant, when you try to obstruct people from also moving ahead, when you think that you are the champion forever, then you say that popularity passes away. On that note, my name is Joseph Fata. See you next time on the Pedagogy of Chapter 5, maybe episode 1. Until then, my number is 0248 026557. Thank you. Bye-bye.